And welcome to Adventures in Eurorack with me, Gaz Williams. Hello and welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new. Please stick around because we are going to be doing some naughty investigating of Eurorack modules, these expensive, addictive things. Oh, how they mocked me. Oh, how sorry I would be. Oh, how empty my wallet will be. All of these things have come to be true. Now, for those of you who've been following the mission, my mission, it's a mission of sorts, definitely an adventure. I was mentioning, I think last week, that I was going to be showing these more in the rigs, more in the different situations that they live in the studio, in the various parts of the studio. To my right, there's the Moog semi-modulars. And that's a really important part of what I've got in front of me tonight, because what I'm trying to do now with the Waldorf is make essentially a controller for those three Moogs. And those three Moogs, I want to be able to route through a bunch of effects. So that's what we've been doing. I've been investigating effects a little bit now, and I wanted to get a kind of traditional effect in a way. I wanted to get a reverb, and I wanted to get a delay. Now, I think I mentioned last week, I kind of spontaneously bought the Eventide Euro DDL, not having properly investigated it. I normally would read a manual before I'd buy something typically, but it was a real spontaneous thing. I'm mentioning that because it is a monophonic delay. There's no ping pong delay. There's no stereo action at all. And yeah, I've been wondering about. There's only one way I think I could get some stereo out, which I'll talk about that a bit later. But there is a send and return on here, and I wonder if I took the send somewhere. But it's pretty much a monophonic delay. But it's a phenomenal delay, and we're going to have a good look at this Eventide in a bit, because there's a lot to be said for it. So, and a lot of fun investigating it. Now, the other one is the let's get a little closer. The ZVerb from Tip Top. Now, this is a fairly new module, and it's one of three new modules from Tip Top that are based on the platform of theirs. They've had a module, I think, for around 10 years now, which has got some kind of development-y, effecty thing. You can make your own effects for it as well in this Z platform. I don't know very much about it at all. What I do know is I was very drawn to this reverb for reasons I'll show you in a moment. It's an excellent reverb, but it does it in a really interesting way. Really, really super interesting. Okay. So the three in that new Tip Top range, though, they're exactly the same, really. They're just different firmware. There's one which is a delay, and there's one which is a just like a multi effect, and then this one, the ZVerb, which is specifically a reverb. I kind of wanted a reverb, like a dedicated reverb. The big effects unit that I love and is kind of the primary effects that I use is the Radical Technologies FX with double X. That the RT1701, I think, to give it its proper title. That's living in one of the other racks over there in a very important role. So I wanted to get a reverb that was pretty small. What's that? 10 HP. And also dedicated reverb rather than a multi-effect. There's not bad reverbs in the disting. You know, you can make a disting, a stereo reverb. And in fact, that's got an advantage over the Tip Top in that you can do stereo in and stereo out. The Tip Top is only mono in and stereo out. Now, I may come to regret that, because that was the only downside I could see of it. However, if it's getting a feed from Eventide, for instance, if we're going in delay into reverb, then that's a mono signal, so maybe it's not going to be too much of a problem. Now, I did have to get another module here. This is just a this is a Mutable Instruments links, and this has just got 3 sections and really simple. Section 1 is, it's like a 1 in to 3 out. Section 2 is 2 in and 2 out, so you can like sum 2 together and take pairs out. And then in the bottom one, you've got 3 in to 1 out. So kind of useful. Not the most exciting, but because it's buffered, and I did realize part of the reason why I got this was I was trying to drive all of the Moog semi-modulars with the gate, and I was using just a little splitter thing that I use. I was taking multiple gates out of this passive splitter, and the subharmonicon just wasn't rolling. It just wasn't having it. So I realized that I needed to, with gates, I think gates are really super important to keep that timing and to keep that, well, to keep it working properly, to have a really strong gate. So I think that's why I got this links, really. So I can duplicate a gate 3 times, but also in the case of the effects here, I'll explain what's going on. I've got a send coming out from, let's go on to this one. Coming out of the Dopefer here, the A138S stereo mixer. I've done this loads of times in the past. I'm using the pan, I'm using the pan control as an effect send. So left goes straight into the little mix-up, which is our little output, our little mixer at the end of the chain, or right goes into the effects. And I'm going right, I'm coming into the links, into the center section. So I'm actually coming in 1, and then that's giving me 2 out. So I'm running 1 input into the delay, and then a separate output coming into the reverb. Those are then coming into the mix-up, and I've got like 3 little mute switches. So essentially I can mute the dry signal and the delayed signal and the reverb, and mix them, of course. I've got pots to mix them there. So that gives me some pretty cool control over the effects. So that's the setup that we're dealing with tonight. What should we start with? I wonder. The delay or the reverb? I think delay. I think delay seems right. Native VS in the chat room is saying he doesn't understand why modern modulars don't supply enough current for gates and CV. A vintage Moog or ARP, he's never had to use a buffer. Okay, interesting. Hey, Jed Lynch, nice to see you, man. How cool, dropping in. Wow, what a legend. That's Peter Gabriel's drummer, I'll have you know. An absolute musical legend who I was fortunate enough to play some gigs with back about 7 years ago, and is an absolute gentleman and a killer musician. Awesome. Really cool. And yeah, okay. So we're going to look at the Eventide first. And for sound, we're just going to use the little Dopefer miniature synthesizer voice. That was something that I brought in last week's show, and that is a standalone, well, like not standalone, it's a miniature, it's a complete synth voice, an analog synth voice, a single oscillator, quite a simple one, but do you know, I've been using it a lot this week and I really like it. It's got a great character, and I've been using it in conjunction with the 3 Moogs as well, which have all got very, very strong Moog character, and the Dopefer holds its own. It definitely holds its own. It's got its own character. Yeah. Creeping into the shot again. Here we are. You see, I'm sure Geert will be really pleased for me to show the cable cube again. This thing is just constantly useful. 40 cables that holds. So just being able to have it there, you know, I love it. I think it's a great idea, that is. Okay. Let's see. Right. So let's have a look. This is our sound. And what we're going to do for the delay, I'll just use a really simple sound so we can really get to hear what the delay does. Now, the delay is quite simple delay in many respects. It's just a single delay. You can't do multi-taps with it. I guess partly maybe that's why it is a mono delay. It's just like a single, one repeat, but you can do lots and lots with that repeat. Now, one of the interesting things about this, Eventide's first Eurorack module for a start, but they essentially launched this product in 3 different ways. It exists more or less. They're different, but there's like some family thing going on. There's a pedal called the Rose by Eventide, and there's also a 500 rack series version of it too. And what that is essentially it's a digital delay, but that's the only digital part. The rest of everything else happens in the analog domain. So the feedback is entirely analog, and then the low pass filter is also analog, and there's an input drive at like a 20 dB boost. That's an analog boost. So pretty much everything else other than the actual delay itself is analog. So but because of the digital part, and this is what this thing is really cool, it's very, very highly spec'd. It works at 192K. That's how it and at 192K you have 10 seconds of delay time, you know. So for a delay, 10 seconds is a lot. For a looper, not a lot. However, if you hit the multiply button on here, what that does is that halves the sample rate. So, you know, still a very respectful 96K, and then that gives you 20 seconds worth of delay. Again, if I hold multiply down, then I can just change it. And if I take it all the way to 16, I think that's about 12K or something. But it gives us 160 seconds of delay. So it's an interesting, I think, a really interesting application of the hybridization of analog and digital, you know, really trying to get the best of both worlds. I mean, there's no way you can do that really analog other than with tape, I think, you know, or stuff that I don't know about, of which there is much stuff. Quick favor to ask of people. I've dropped a new video on my channel earlier today about this iPhone piano from E Instruments, and it's called Pure Piano. I've just made a video, so this isn't like a long form live stream. It's a properly edited video, and the reason I'd like you all to watch it is because my amazing friend Helen Stanley, who I play in 2 bands with, I managed to get her in on something, and she's just this awesome piano player. And so if you can check that video out, I tell you what, you'd make this man very happy. And please, if you want to do anything for me, if you want to make me happy, just give it a watch, even if it's just for 40 seconds so it registers as a view. No, it's kind of limped out the gate again. Urgh. However, there we go. Wagoo's saying 48K is enough for anybody. Yeah, all right. So, I mean, that's the thing. If I took the multiplier down, I could... well, actually, I'm not sure how I would work it out because... Oh, yeah. 2, 3, 4. So, I'm just looking at the scale. So, it starts from 2. So, it's starting from, like, 2 being twice the rate. 3. I have no idea how you'd find 48. If anyone knows, how's that working then? So if it's going from 2 to 16, and I think the sample rate's going from 192 down to 12K. So I'm not quite sure what those numbers directly relate to, but yeah, 48K is probably somewhere in that. Harry Turner's asking, I may ask the question, is the Eventide worth sacrificing all that HP space for? Ooh, killer question. I'm really struggling for HP on this particular rig to get all of the things that I want to put on it for controlling all the Moogs. And that's a big old module. However, delay, especially on those Moogs, is just the most beautiful thing. It kind of, in terms of its sonic, the space it can take up in the mix, you know, maybe it gives it a right to claim all that HP space. I mean, but then you see that Tip Top, though, is what? It's less than half the size of it. And you can get a delay version of that, which is stereo. And is, wow, less than half price of this Eventide. This expensive module, that is. However, I think that this Eventide I think it's really special. I think it's going to take quite a bit of time to really learn to get the best out of it. But it really does have some pretty cool features. Now let's get into that, because I am waffling, as I have a tendency to do. Okay, so we got our clean sound. So I'm just using this dope for, and I'll keep that pretty vanilla for now. Pretty vanilla, pretty vanilla, pretty vanilla, vanilla. Let's see. Now I'll get some delay on the go with that. So I'm just gonna, let's just flick the delay in. I think I should just have some delay. Delay. Yeah, the delay's in, but I've put the delay now. The shortest the delay can be is 11 milliseconds. I was wondering about that. I was wondering if that is just what the inherent sort of like latency of it is. I think doesn't the Roland Demora go down to 1 millisecond? But anyway, 11 milliseconds is all we've got here. So that's what we're going to have to deal with. But saying that, you can't hear it. You can't really hear it. If I crank the feedback all the way up. Now, like if I just adjust the delay time now with the feedback up. And yes, you can modulate this delay time. And a pretty cool feature, actually, let's do it. Let's modulate that delay time. A pretty cool feature is you can pretty much attenuate the range of the LFO, or you know, of your modulator rather coming in. I'm going to use an LFO. A slow LFO into delay. Slower. Another quite cool thing as well is the feedback, which you can also modulate. I mean, there's a decent amount of CV control on this, to be fair. The feedback, you can, in the settings, there's like a little kind of settings you can get into, and in those settings you can cap the maximum rate of feedback, but you can also, as I've got it set now, take it to 110%. So if I push it, it obviously gets dangerous. Let me grab onto the control. Then we get our feedback crazy. I'm going to engage the filter now, which also can be modulated. Yeah, you get the gist. But my Eventide H9, one of the joyous things about that is that when you play with those gorgeous Eventide algorithms, they really work well when you change. You know, they don't kind of make nasty digital glitches, or well, unless you want it to. But it's pretty smooth, and I'm really pleased to say with this thing you can kind of get it, you know, it's super smooth as well. Yeah, so let me think. I think hold down kill. Yeah. So I can choose, I can limit how much that is coming in, which is cool. Yeah. Let's just stop this for a moment. Yeah. So I mentioned there's a whole bunch of things that you can modulate with this and control. You got a clock in and clock out. Now the clock, I am a little bit confused about it. I think Robin Vincent also got a bit confused with it as well, because, well, we'll have a look at that. Unless I'm mistaken, and if anyone in the chat room can tell me if I'm missing a trick on this or something, if there is like a BPM mode on it. I don't think there is. I think it's just all in milliseconds and seconds. When you tap, it goes to a BPM when you tap in, but then the screen will flick back and then it will be in absolute time. Now I've got a clock input coming in from the Waldorf. So if I was to set, well, I can see the, oh, sorry, that's coming from the gate. Let's put it to the clock. I meant, there we go. Oh, there we go. No, my mistake. That's cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's fine. But yeah, what you have to do then is you have to hold down tap, and then you can get into, if you hold down tap, then you can then make the delay, you can force it to musical divisions. Ooh, 666. Okay, so it's kind of nice that it's got a gain control on the in, just on a little, trimmer pot, and an out control as well. And in between there, as I mentioned earlier, there is a send and a return. So that comes post delay, but pre-filter and pre-feedback. So really what you can tap out from the send then is essentially the pristine digital delay. Feed that through something and then put it back in, and then that'll put it into the feedback path. So yeah, I think it's got a lot of cool creativity, but I think it's quite nice that it brings elements from just Eventide studio heritage into this. Okay, so we have got a little infinity. Let's just get let's get a bit of a longer thing going. Da, 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 da. Oh, I've got my clock coming in. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Actually, let's just get an arpeggiator on the go. Ugh. Okay. Send an LFO into the filter, I think. Nice. Now, Let's get some. Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't show what I was meant to do. So you get something going, and then hit the infinity button. Ooh. Oh, hang about. I made it really short, didn't I? What happens now if we stretch this out? Oh yeah. Come on. I think what's happening is, as I'm changing the delay time, the clock is then kind of taking it back. Now, so you can control the amount of kind of glide. Let's see if we can max that glide out. So it's acting a bit weird because of the clock. Clocking. Okay. It's kind of cool though, isn't it? You can sort of hear that there's something really quality about it. There's the classic reverse as well. Let's get an arpeggiator on the go again. Although. So I'll go to my divisions here. Like a 2-bar delay. Is it? Oh. I don't know kind of how that works. Nice though. Okay, so let's reverse it. Reverse isn't going to work very well on a song like this. Let's play a phrase with a fast attack then. A bit more decay. Okay, I'm going to take the clock out for now. Let's do a long... Yeah, so if you push in on the delay encoder, you can do it in essentially seconds or, big increments. And then you can twizzle the knob for that fine kind of tuning. Okay, so I was kind of curious if you were to chuck. Let's try chucking a square wave into that square wave LFO into the reverse. Is that doing something? No, it doesn't appear to, does it? Oh yeah, hang on. Nothing interesting. I'm going to put it into the... Oh yeah, no, I know what. Oh! I just pulled my module out. There's something going on. Let me just have a little whinge. I'm getting a bit suspicious that this Waldorf isn't in fact 107 HP. I reckon it might be 106.5 HP. Because this is all meant to be 107 HP, but I can't get they're all out of alignment with the screw holes. Urgh. So it's a little bit frustrating. They were kind of mostly not moving, so I thought I could get away with it, but this LFO is a little bit loose. Okay, excuse that. I'm just going to check in with chat room. Max sold his noodle box and has gone for an SQ64 instead. Be interesting to see if you prefer it. I'm just kind of quickly checking chat room. Sorry, chatties. I'm kind of is it fixed? The thing does slide. It does slide. It does actually slide. So yeah, I'm obviously getting something wrong. But I tried to lock down the corner ones, thinking that if you got the corners right, then everything else should be right. But maybe not. Work in progress. As is this setup, you see. So this array, this mixer, I've got 4 inputs on this little mixer. So input 1 is the DFAM, input 2 is the subharmonic on input 3, the mother 32, and then input 4 is the little Doepfer, the one on here. And the other thing that's I think certain things are going to live in this. I mean, I think the Eventide and that ZVerb, they've been bought specifically for this. I think Morphogene is just moonlighting here at the moment. But what is super cool, though, is the DPW Design Merg, the 4-band distortion. I've got the Doepfer going into that. And actually, so if I get the Doepfer doing a drone by turning its VCA up, I'm going to take its dry signal. I'll leave it dry in for a moment. I flick in the distortion now. Okay. All right, enough of that. Cool. So, yeah, I think the Eventide is just, it sounds good. That's the bottom line. It does sound good, and it sounds good when you're messing around with it. Okay. Let's see. Well, where are we doing? So if you've just tuned in, we're looking at the moment the Eventide Euro DDL, but we're also going to be looking very soon at the ZVerb or the ZVerb. I'm going to call it ZVerb, being British. The ZVerb from Tip Top, which is in a way it's a little bit of a best of. Oh, should we do it now? Yeah, let's move on, because I'd like to do some stuff with both of them. So let's just get our sound back up, our simple little sound, if we can. It's a sound in 4. Okay, I'm just trying to get my basic sound back up. Why I've lost the sound. Why have I lost the sound? It's so easy to lose the sound, as I often do lose the sound. We'll just try a different mixer channel. Nah, that's not that. Must be the settings. I know what I'm going to do. I'm not 100% sure if this is the case, but I did find something. The Waldorf did crash the other day. And would you know it? There it is. It's done that again. Need to get to the bottom of that. So any KB37 ninjas out there who might know why it does that. I feel a bit vindicated in a way that I'm not such a moron all the time. That some things happen that are not fair. Also, does anybody know who knows about the KB37 if there's any way to get MIDI from the circuit board from the internally, rather than having to use the MIDI ports at the back? Like if there's any pins on the board that you can get at MIDI. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on then. So we're going to look at the just put that like that. Just this thing here, the ZVerb. Okay, that's our dry sound. Let's kill a dry sound and put in our verb sound. Okay, and I'll use the mix control for now. Then I'll for our dry sound. Let's get that level up a bit. Okay. Oh, it is a nice one. It's a nice reverb. It's got some fabulous little tricks up its sleeve. Right. I don't know if you can make out on here. Let's just go to this one a moment. There's 3 buttons at the top labeled 70s, 80s and 90s. And essentially those are 3 different banks of 8 algorithms. And they're grouped as such in 70s, 80s and 90s based on when those kind of reverbs were starting to be used. Now, I think they've taken a few liberties with this, but what is really nice is in the manual for the ZVerb, in the manual for it, it goes into some depth about each of the algorithms and maybe why you would want to use them, and that's really handy. That is really handy. I'll read out some examples. Let's have a look now. Oh yeah, so in our 70s one, let's see, we got basic. Our first one is Hall. Oh, I think I just need to do something first. So just to show how these things work, is that you long press, it flashes. Now I can pick, I can go through the 8 algorithms. So, it's a bit weird. You can't quite see. That's yellow and those two are red. And then as you step through them, it's like a binary. There's 8 and they light up and it loops round again. I think that's kind of pretty cool. I think once you know, well, for instance, let's go to yellow, red, yellow. Where is it? Yeah, here. You probably can't tell, but yellow, red, yellow. That is the space station. Now, I did play with one of these years ago. This is a really rare reverb called the Ursa Major Space Station, which wasn't really a reverb, I don't think. Anyway, it was more of like a multi-tap delay. But anyway, so yeah, in fact, I am paraphrasing the manual. It says, what? This isn't a reverb at all. Space station. True. This algorithm is a multi-tap delay based on a very early digital processor called the Ursa Major Space Station. The mod controls, changes the taps used in the output and feedback. Filter adjusts an independent mono echo delay that also factors into the feedback. Try it on percussive tracks and loops. Crank the feedback and sync the taps and echo for some robotic rhythm effects. So then it tells us that time is controlling feedback, filter is controlling the time of the echo channel delay, and mod is the tap selection. So they're labeled kind of what they are, but it's not always, in this case, for instance, is, time is feedback. So you do need to refer to the manual, I think, to learn what these things are. But yeah, let's have a listen to that. It's got a cool sound there. Let's see. Time was feedback. Let's get a little fast arpeggio with short staccato notes. Play with these controls then. Yeah. That's a cool sound, isn't it? So, one of the really, probably the coolest feature in the ZVerb is, well, and actually this same feature applies on the other two in the range, the delay and the multi-effect, is that it has a analog VCO acting as the clock source. So it clocks to this VCO, and then basically there's a knob called the fidelity knob. When you change the fidelity, what it is doing is just slowing. It is just slowing down the processing, so this is kind of independent of the algorithm. Just by changing the clock speed, slowing it down, and it gets really nasty down here. Let's go fully wet. This is nice. Nice? I think so. And the cool thing is that, yes, that is modulatable as well. Yeah, so what a cool little feature. There's a little toggle switch on here, which allows you to switch the middle CV from either modulating time or the fidelity knob. But you can also modulate the mod control and the filter. So, you know, I think that's a pretty sensible amount of control, I think. Obviously the Eventide gives us way more patching potential, but okay. Let's try some other algorithms out. So as I say, that was the space station based on the Ursa Major space station. Okay, so red, yellow. Red, yellow. This is called Earliest Verb, based very loosely on the first commercial reverb box. The mod control changes the size of the reverb, which is not the same as changing the decay time control. This overall has a smaller overall size than the Hall. Okay, so. How fun is this? So filter is our low pass reverb, low pass filter. Oh yeah. So decay, time is decay, but mod, size of the space. Play with the fidelity. This is a fun reverb. This is a lot more fun than most reverbs. Okay. So that's quite, interesting reverb. It's got a definite character to it. So let's see if it was like a damp. Yeah, okay. Let's have a flick through, find. Right. Prehistoric Exhibit A. Okay, and to get there we need red, yellow, yellow. Red, yellow, yellow, that's it. And this one, as the name suggests, this predates any commercial product by many years, but the algorithm was a starting point for all research into artificial digital reverberation. The space is small and can become quite ringy with low mod settings, but crank up the mod and it becomes quite chorused. So interesting. Like I was mentioning, this is almost like a best of reverb, as we'll see later as we move out of the 70s and then into the 80s or whatever. You know, it's it's quite interesting. A little trip through time, you know, celebrating reverb milestones. Yeah, actually, let me find the text where it mentions about this, because 70s. The 1970s saw the introduction of programmable digital technology to the audio industry. The first half of the decade featured primitive delays followed by the first pitch shifters, but by the late 70s, processing power and memory was available to do algorithmic reverb and other effects. So this bank features interpretations, not emulations or clones, of the first generation of digital reverb. So, so this isn't authentic, but it is, it's very much inspired by. But I like this. A lot of the time, when you don't have the context, or you don't necessarily know why you would want what that sound is meant to be. And it does. It explains with enough interest each one. Plate. Now we got yellow, yellow, red. Let's get there. Yellow, yellow, red is tape plate. So we got a mono tape echo is placed before the plate algorithm. The echo has saturation and limiting plus a bandpass filter, which can give some crunchy tones to feed into the plate. The mod delay time and reverb also control the tape echo feedback. Increasing those controls feed more back into the echo. Okay, so let's have a listen. Let's get some dry into it. So we've got a bandpass filter on this one. Now, Tip Top do explain that you can't clock any of these in this range, I don't think, because of the instability of the VCO that is controlling the, this, that gives us our fidelity control. Yeah, it's a really cool sounding. Now, Harry Turner Project is saying in the chat room, still sounds modern to my old ears. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Because I guess what we are hearing a modern reverb that is, I guess, being set up, the controls, the parameter ranges, or various things. I guess those are the things that are based on those older machines. However, yeah, I'll go with it. I'm really liking the different sounds, though, of the different algorithms. There's some quite cool things. Anyway, I'm wondering whether I should just skip over. Oh, no, there's one more. This is yellow, yellow, yellow. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Epic Mod Hall. And it says, this is the largest of all the algorithms in the ZVerb, and at maximum time setting it becomes practically infinite. So based on the whole program, but with much higher and adjustable modulation amounts. Let's get into a different octave. Okay, let's go the full length then. Okay. And there it goes. So let's crank the modulation up. And the filter, opening the filter up a bit. Oh, I've got the fidelity down. I've got the fidelity down. Clipping the input there. Oh, a bit too much feedback maybe. Okay. Lots of fun to be had in there. Okay, I reckon we're going to jump out of the 70s. Oh, do we have to? Yes. Into the 1980s. Boo! And it's the decade of Robbie Bronniman. Me and Robbie, great friends, but he's the 80s boy. I'm the 70s boy. Yeah. So next, let's go 80s. So the method for that, then I hold the 80s button until it flashes, and then we're good. So we're in the 80s. Let's just read the description, what it says here. Digital technology hit every part of of life in the 1980s, and the audio field was no exception, from samplers and recorders to a quickly expanding range of effects processors. For the first time, budget products put reverb and other effects in the hands of home and touring musicians. The 80s bank of ZVerb, I can't make my mind up, features some of the important and iconic algorithms of the decade. Okay, so the first one is called 80s bar verb. Bar, B-A-R-R, verb. Not sure if I'm getting what that is meant to be, but it says based on the design of 80s lower cost multi-effects units. Boo! No, let's not play. Oh, yeah, let's get some more interesting ones. Oh no, I'm feeling bad to the bar verb. Let's have a listen. Okay. This is a simpler structure than the Hall or plate algorithms, but it still creates a spacious and rich sound. The sound of the internal delays are more prominent than 70s algorithms. The mod parameter controls the overall delay length and creates a longer but more obvious effect as it increases. The modulation is high and the time control is tilted to very long and large spaces up to a minute in time. Okay, I nearly skipped over that. That's cool. Right, to get that I need red. So I'll flick through them. Red. So let's see. Time. So mod is the length of the internal delay loop here. filter's a low pass again. Play with the fidelity control now. I'm typically sort of just doing everything a bit extreme, really, but with a lot of the time with reverb, you don't need anywhere near that much. I'm generally really impressed by the overall quality, though. It's got a nice musicality to it. Okay, that's 80s bar verb. Ambience, we'll skip over ambience. Gated reverb, well, we can kind of guess what that is. Oh, now this was something I was a bit confused about. Shimmer. Did the shimmer effect originate in the 1980s? Because if it did, I kind of really associate that with the last, I don't know, 15 years maybe. So if anyone knows if that was, if it was. Okay, so let's actually have a listen to the shimmer then. Obviously, classic effect. I need red, red, yellow for that. Red, red, yellow. Okay, there we are. But this is a shimmer octave up and down. So the mod is the mix of the octave up and down. Let's have a look at the mod. So octave up, octave down, and then in the middle, I guess, a mix of both. Ooh. Yeah. It's a lovely reverb. I really love it. It's Jason in the chat room. Hello there, Jason. I sent Jason a link of if anyone's interested in early Genesis. I know there's some of you out there who are. If you haven't seen them already, check out. Someone has recently uploaded some 4K upscaled concert footage from like really early Genesis, like nursery crime era Genesis. There's a Belgian TV performance from 1972. And it's all upscaled into 4K. And there's a concert from the Bataclan in Paris from 1973 with has it got any maybe no, that's just nursery crime stuff as well. Yeah, maybe a bit of foxtrot. Anyway, I digress. The reason why I'm mentioning that though is just because we're seeing more and more of that technology being used to upscale things. And finding that quite interesting. So I downloaded a demo of a piece of software called Video Enhancer AI. And I've taken some footage, like really bad, blocky, pixely footage from 2003 of my band Rocket Gold Star. And I've upscaled it to 4K. It just because you can download it and you get 32 days. I mean, this is on the Mac. I'm not sure if it's on. Yeah, I think it might be on PC too. You get a 32-day demo, but beware, because if you want to upscale like maybe an hour-long video, it might take about 2 or 3 days to do that. Native VS is picking up on that Genesis thing I'm just talking about, and they're saying that TV performance is sadly missing the Willow Farm and Apocalypse in 9/8 from Supper's Ready. Yes, I think it might be because they might not have. Maybe they hadn't even written it. Maybe it was in the. Maybe it was still being written, and that was all the bit that they had. Anyway, don't want to go on too long about Genesis because I know for some people it's like, I don't know, they'd rather eat their own eyeballs than listen to Genesis. But I think it's good for you. I think Genesis are excellent. Anyway, digression over. So that's the Shimmer anyway. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Oh, and also we've got Shimmer Pitch Adjust. So let's just do that and let's put a modulator in. So this Pitch Adjust, let's see, yellow, red, yellow. Yellow, red, yellow, we're there. Same kind of thing, but it's only one pitch shifter and the mod control this time picks what pitch it is. That's begging, absolutely stinking well begging to be modulated, that is. Come on, let's ram one in there. Yes! Let's go fast. Let's go fast. I'm going to send a fast triangle into that pitch. I'll go fully wet. Let's see what it's doing. Try a slower one. Let's go slower. Let's go square wave actually, and then one can get a rhythm out of the two pitches. Well, a kind of rhythm. Sounds like a bunch of those types, you know, that you see outside the supermarket. Do I have to? Do I have to? It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a sort of weird old thing going on. Okay, so that's that. Now this one's quite curious. Pitch over plate, which is yellow, yellow, yellow. There we go. A pair of pitch shifters on the output of the plate program adds some weight or air to the reverb tone. The shifters are not in the reverb tank, so the pitch is stable and quantized to 4 intervals: -12, -7, +7, and +12. This works well with percussive sounds as well as pitch sounds. So, ooh, we're modulating it as well. See, so mod is the pitch of the pitch shifter. I'll take out the modulator for now. Oh yeah, you can hear that go in between. So different from the Shimmer, isn't it? Let's take out all the front on here. Just a brighter tone. Let's modulate that little bad boy again. So what were we doing? Took a modulator and chuck it into mod. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's get out the 80s. 90s. Yeah. Speaking of the 90s, Jim Hayward pointed something out interesting the other day. What was it? In 2 months, in August and September of 1991, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Nirvana, Nevermind, Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, Metallica, the Black Album. I know there's more. It's just all within that 2 months. Something else I've forgotten, but just it's easy to overlook certain things. But America ruled the roost with rock music in the early 90s. The Brits, we had it down. The 70s, we had the 70s. And then in the 80s, I think it was a bit of a tug of war. But in the early 90s, America smashed it. I mean, because of course then you get, great bands like Rage Against the Machine and Tool and Nine Inch Nails and Jane's Addiction and Primus, Jellyfish. There's a pretty cool time for rock music. I think that was America's golden era of rock. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that was my little kind of thing just to get us into a bit of a 90s mood now. Okay, here's the description of the 90s. Processing power increased and the size of electronics decreased in the 90s, giving much more advanced high-end devices and more affordable low-cost units. This bank focuses on some of the higher-end algorithms of the era, which have interesting combinations of delay, pitch, modulation, and reverb. So the first one it gives us is room. Let's skip over room. Let's skip to the next one because it's called void. Yes, we like the void. Very different design from other algorithms. This idea originated in high-end rack units from the 90s and continues to be very popular in the 21st century. At lower time settings, it almost has a reverse sounding response, while increasing the time and modulation creates a very unnatural but lush sound. Okay, void. Let's do it. So first of all, I've got to go in to my long press on the 90s. I'm in. We're in the 90s, everyone. And I want yellow, red, red. Yellow, red, red. Okay, and then we've got void now. Mod, rate and intensity of internal modulation. So that's being modulated at the moment. Let's pop that one out just whilst we're playing around with it. Something I've been dying to do that I haven't done yet is modulate the Fidelity. Yes. I have a feeling this will make it quite evil because I'm not putting it into any attenuator, so it's going to get the full effect. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. It's really nice to have this analog kind of quality. Well, it's not a quality. It is an analog VCO controlling the speed. It's quite wild. So changing that processing speed. Let's try it. Triangle. I'm using the Tab 3 LFO here. That's quite nice, but let's take it into the audio rate with a square wave. That's well gritty up there. It's bizarre, isn't it? Modulating the processor speed of the reverb. Hey, DJ Puzzle! Hey, thank you, my friend. Nice to see you here, too. That's pretty cool sound. Okay. I'm going to flick the switch so it'll stop modulating the fidelity and start modulating the time instead. Let's modulate the time slower. So it feels like a weird sort of sicky feeling. And a filter. Low pass filter again. Okay, that's void. How are we doing for time? How about this sound a few octaves down? Yeah, why not? Getting cello-like here. It's just got... Cool. I'll just do a couple more of the 90s and then we'll start putting some of the Eventide and the ZVerb in together. Okay, Chord Hall. This sounds quite nice. This is a pair of pitch shifters with 4 sets of intervals run into a modulated Hall algorithm. The pitch effect is not in the decay of the reverb, so the pitch remains stable. Good for making tritone chords from mono oscillators. All right then. Let's see, we want to be yellow, red, yellow for this. Yep. I'll take out the modulator for now, although I think we will want to modulate this too. So let's see, time is the decay of the space, low pass filter, and then mod is the intervals of the pitch shifters. Oh, so these are locked as well, so... Okay, pretty nice. And we'll finish with a formant verb. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Yeah, there we go. Yellow, yellow, yellow. So the tune... Ah, I see, yeah. That's cool, isn't it? Oops. So that probably... Fidelity again. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's the ZVerb from Tip Top, and I think it's jolly nice indeed. Sounds great. It really does sound great. And it is full of interesting little things. Okay, so what do you reckon, everyone in the chat room? What's the best, the Eventide or the ZVerb? Not really comparable, I suppose, but big difference in price, though. Yeah, huge difference in price. I think almost 3 times as much. No, 2.5 times as much, something like that. I mean, Eventide perhaps always does, you know, typically Eventide stuff carries a bit of a price premium, doesn't it? Get Jervis saying the ZVerb. Yeah, I think the Eventide will come into its own once you start getting some of the crazy things you can modulate with it. So let's do some of that with it then as well. So let's bring that back in. some crazy... Oh, yeah, the delay time is being modulated. Let's unplug that for now. Quite sure what's going on here. Let me think. Let's take some of that. I'm going to put a front on the note. We'll take the on the attack. Let's tap. Da ba dum bam bam. So that's okay. Oh yeah, I know what I've done. The division. I've made a huge division. I made a 2-bar. Ah, right. I see. I think... Is it... I'm not quite sure how this works. If the clock is coming in, is the clock... Is the clock overriding the subdivisions? That's what I'll need to investigate. Anyway, I'm waffling. Here's something that I want to do, though. I'm going to take the aftertouch from the KB37, and I'm going to put the aftertouch into the infinity control. I was playing around with this the other day, and I'll see if I can get this back again, because it's quite curious, quite an interesting way of working. Whoa, let me just get my levels together. Sorry about that. I'm just going to take the reverb out for now. Let's just go back to delay for a moment. So you can get these kind of pretty cool. Right, okay, let's give it a bit of time. More than that, let's set it to be in so it's the division of quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get an arpeggiator for time. I'll get this in a moment. I've taken the gate out. I'm going to put the clock back in. Set the clock to be shorter. So now I can lock notes. You can see it light. Into the infinity buffer. that's not quite what I had in mind. It's a bit weird, but you can feel. I mean, let's just take a note, turn the notes off. You can feel when you're hitting the aftertouch, because it, you know, it necessitates just that to dig that finger in a little bit, and actually, in a kind of predictable way, you know, I can switch it. Yeah, so if I'm playing a lot of notes now, and I can deliberately switch it in when if I just play in hard. That's what I was doing. Now let me try and get a groove going and see if I can find something musical. Die Stanton, ZVerb ordered. Hey, Tip Top, you should see this. No, but I mean, it is great, isn't it? It's a really cool module. I think because it's very current, I think that the DSP is probably pretty pokey on it, you know, hence it being very smooth sounding. I think that's always the key with an algorithmic reverb. You need lots of kind of processor cycles for that smoothness. Nice. Yeah, Harry Turner's asking, did Die Stanton order it in white or black? Now, I went for it in white. I did have the option for it in black. Now, virtually this entire keyboard is almost black. Is almost all black. So I thought, bit of white. Di ordered it in white. Neat. Okay. Let's go back to this. Okay, I'm going to see if I can... Oh yeah, this is following the clock off here, isn't it? Do you know, I think I'm running out of steam here. I think I might actually call in time a little bit. I think I've spent enough time with these. I was going to plug it in to the ZVerb. I'll do that again. I think, yeah, I don't want to go too long with these shows, you see. Yeah, I think I might, if that's all right, guys, I might just chip off. I think I'll do a jam out then. Actually, I will patch it. I'll patch it out in, and then I'll patch out the reverb now. Ooh, here's an idea. I wonder though, if I just take the send out of the delay and send that into the input of the reverb instead. Curious. Okay, let's switch that in now. We're on that form and verb, aren't we? Oh yeah, so if you switch back to, like, on the ZVerb, if you switch back, it will have remembered which of the presets you were on, or not presets, which of the algorithms you were on. So you can have, you know, you can choose your favorite one for the 70s, favorite one for the 80s, favorite for the 90s. Modulate modulate the fidelity. I know, just thought of one last thing I'm going to do as well. I'm going to, with my slow LFO, I'm going to stick the slow LFO into the delay time, and I'm going to unclock that now. Is that doing? Oh, wrong patch cable. There we go. Let's put that one in. Let's try that again. Let's get that slower. It's like a slower delay as well. I know, of course, that's overriding. That is controlling our... Is it? Yeah. Quite nice not having the reverb, sorry, not having the delay feedback going into the reverb. Okay, I think I'm spent. Sorry, I've got zero. I'm a bit wiped out today, actually, so we're lacking a bit of musical mojo. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. I definitely am impressed by the ZVerb. The Eventide, I think, is amazing. I just think it is a bit sophisticated, and I need to dig in deeper with that. But the ZVerb is an instant hit in my book, and will be able to perform all the kind of bread and butter kind of reverb jobs that I want off it. But I think having that fidelity control to be able to modulate that, and also there being plenty of interesting algorithms like the pitch shifts and whatnot, yeah, I think is going to be is a bit of a winner. And yeah, I think it's going to stay living in the Waldorf. It was bought to live in the Waldorf, as was the Eventide. So, but anyway, yay! Thanks everybody. Yeah. It's been a real pleasure. Again, thank you so much for joining. If you could click the like and all that sort of stuff, is apparently helpful. And also, as mentioned earlier, if you could check out my new video about pure piano that's on my channel, I would really like that. I would really, really like that. That would be doing me a favor. If you want to do me a favor, then watch that. And I'll be back on Wednesday at the normal time of 8 p.m. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to go. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.